fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to Synchronicity Web TV. I am your host, Nadiya Shah, and this is your moment of synchronicity. Well, this is such a treat because one of my very favorite people in the entire world of astrology, I get to hang out with, I get to have fun with you guys here today, the one and only Michael Lutin. Now, Michael Lutin is going to be part of the upcoming very special, what I'm calling the conference event of the year, Embracing the Community, a celebration of astrologies. It is a joint London School of Astrology and Synchronicity University event taking place over the Autumn Equinox weekend of 2021. And you can learn all about that, coupon codes, discount codes, all of that available at synchronicityuniversity.com. Links are in the description below. Well, Michael Lutin is a well-known astrologer and author of Saturn signs, Made in Heaven, Childhood Rising, and Sunshines. For many years, Michael was hugely popular as a columnist for Vanity Fair, and in 2018 was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Regulus Award at UAC. His website is michaellutin.com. Now, I just know him as an incredible person, full of love, living legend. I am just so excited to hang out with you today. Welcome, Michael. Thank you for being here.
Very, very much. And that time at Vanity Fair, I must say that I lost that gig, or it ended when I published a piece on Pluto coming into Capricorn that was very well received, but very dangerous for me, I guess it turned out. And it was in 2006. And then I lost that gig after 25 years. I worked for that magazine for 25 years. But when I moved into a different realm, it wasn't just 12 signs anymore. And when it wasn't 12 signs a month anymore, I decided I was going to do something different. So I wrote a piece on what I thought Pluto and Capricorn was going to be. And it's still on their website, I think. And that was 2006. I think it's still on their website. It was very inflammatory about the world and what was going to happen. And here we are today. And I never knew it was going to really be this big or that this long lasting, but it seems to have been. And I really hit a note. Pluto at 0 Capricorn. I hit a huge note, a deep, deep chord within the world, and it came true. And it's now, now we're trying to cope with everything, and I'm trying to keep up and keep my writing up on Facebook and the other platforms. I'm trying very hard to keep up, but I've sort of already said everything in 2006, but it's important to keep connected with the people because my work has completely changed now. And instead of just doing horoscopes or doing 12-sign horoscopes, I'm much more interested in one-to-one work with individuals to get them to embrace their life, no matter how long or short it is from here on in. Because we don't know what's going to happen now.
Yeah, it seems very open. But what I know is that you have such a loyal following because you have this a wonderful way of writing that is so it's funny, but it's very insightful and it's encouraging, but it really gets to the core of what people are experiencing for the collective. Yeah.
But sometimes lately, because I'm a little more pointed now, I got one the other day that said, I could certainly do without your humor. False.
Those people you have to decide that they just are not going to exist for you. Just because I just feel like you have so much to do in this lifetime. You're so brilliant. I mean, you use that for fun and that's it.
But it's too easy to write those people off. And I said something, and I don't mean any, I said something the other day and I meant for it to be funny, but it's never just funny with me. And, somebody wrote, and she was very offended by it. And instead of me taking an offensive position, which you could always do with a criticism, I tried to see things from her point of view, which I always try to do. And then a lot of my readers wrote in and said, you don't owe her an apology. You shouldn't apologize. Your humor is funny. So I try always to be where the people are, even though I have my own views, as we all do. But I get a lot of both sides from now. People call me this name and that name. I do.
That's so strange because I don't know. I just see you as legend. I see you as brilliant. Um,
Yes, of
there's,
course.
yeah,
But
yeah, of course. Yes, of course. Yeah.
apart from the brilliance, no, but of course, you get on people's nerves also. So I try to see both sides of it, even though, and I try not to show my own particular views and prejudices, because there's no place for that in writing. I'm not a journalist that is chronicling what's happening in that way. I'm an astrologer first, and I can never forget that.
You're an astrologer first, but also the way that you write is very distinct. It's very poetic in a way, but insightful in a way. And so it isn't just about being an astrologer, it's also about being a communicator.
Well, I don't even use that much astrology in my work. I mean, I do it outside the writing. I do all the astrology in my head. But when I sit down to write, I don't usually astrology terms. But I can never forget that I'm writing for people of all signs, of all planets, of all persuasions. And I have to take that into consideration when I write for them.
But there is
I
something,
try to do that.
it seems like it's still centered in something that isn't just about how are people going to respond to this. I mean, it does come from a more genuine place outside of just how other people might respond. It seems that way.
I try to always search for authenticity. And I think that that's the key to all creativity is authenticity. Because if you go to a theater, you go to a show or a movie or read a book or anything, and you sense the creator's authenticity within every piece of that, it inspires you also to be authentic. Bette
Wow.
Midler was pardon?
I just said, wow, that's incredible. Yes.
Bette Midler was on the stage recently. I saw her. She came out with some purple things. She always wears, I think, a lot of purple. She's Sagittarius. She comes out, twirls around and around, said, "Am I gorgeous? Am I gorgeous? Did I lose the weight? Did I lose the weight? Don't look at my neck. Don't look at my neck. Don't look at my neck." You know the courage it takes for someone in her 70s, a woman in her 70s, to come dancing out onto the stage and to tell you to look at the very thing you're not supposed to look at. Don't look at my neck. Don't look at my neck. Now, what's the first thing you look at? The neck. But the authenticity that came behind that moment disarms the audience, because if you can hear the performer acknowledging the very thing that you're not supposed to look at, then you're inspired you're relaxed immediately. You laugh, you relax, and you get a chance for your own authenticity. And that's now what I'm seeking is we're now up against a wall. We are up against the wall. So I try now to be strictly authentic. I try not to be too rude, but I definitely strive for authenticity.
And so, what do you mean striving? Like, how do you do that? Is it just intention in terms of setting the intention that you are going to create from a place of authenticity to the best of your
Yeah.
ability today? Yeah.
When you're writing, know that you're a writer too. That each thing that you write, it can either go to the left or it can go to the right. You can do it and be completely naked in what you write, or you can couch it. And if I can write now and be connected to my readers without couching things, that's what I'm struggling with now, because I'm trying to write another book. And I have another book in me, and but I have had the worst trouble. I'll write 500 words and I'll throw it out. I write another 500 words and I throw it out. I'm not there yet. My farmland is fallow. It's not kicked in yet. It hasn't kicked in yet because I know when I'm writing from my guts, it's always funny and it's always true.
Yeah, it
But I'm
feels
not
different.
quite there yet to be that. I gotta be slightly more honest. It's just I have to go over that hump, but I'm not there yet. That's why I've been throwing this stuff away. And my assistant says, "No, this is good. This is good." I said, "No, it isn't. I'm not really behind this work. I have to be in it, and I have to be in it because if I'm in it, my readers will be in it. They will laugh and they will know it's true. And if I can't get to that point, I'm scared about that because I haven't really been able to connect with that in my writing in months. I've been, I have Saturn in one place, and maybe that's the reason that there's a truth that I have a position of Saturn now that is difficult, and some of my progressions are difficult, and I can understand that, but I'm not tolerant of that. I'm not tolerant to say, well, I don't care where your Saturn is. You got to do it anyway, but you can't. Sometimes you just can't. And I love what I do, and I don't want to stop doing it.
Well, you
And
do
I
it
love
every
all my.
day. Yeah, you do it every day anyway. So you're in that, you find enough of yourself to be in that space to connect with people. People are so loyal to your work.
That's a nice thing to hear. And I try to do that. I see on a daily basis, I don't have the problem. I can write 3 lines and I meant it. But to actually do a big piece with telling all that truth about yourself, ooh,
Excuse
but
me. I was trying not to sneeze.
no, but
I was
that's
trying not to sneeze.
that
Goodness.
came out when I said to say all that and to make sure I'm telling the truth, and you sneezed. So when you sneeze, it's the truth.
Wow.
That's
Okay. Well, it's the truth. I'm telling you the truth from my perspective and seeing how many people love you and share you and everything. But I also understand needing to feel good about what you produce, especially if it's going to be something like a book. So I totally understand that.
yeah, and when you do it, and it's like a painter. When you paint a painting, well, how do you know it's done? Because that's the thing about being an artist. You have to know when to stop. And I don't ever want. We put on a show in Washington for a UAC. I don't think you were there. It was you were 1992. You probably weren't born then, but it was in 92. We put on this show. It was called Alien Follies, and it was a show with a cast of 72 people, and we had it was a full-blown musical. It ran for 2 nights at UAC. When I think of the work that I put into that, directing 72 people in a show and dressing them we had a great dresser. We had everything, everybody, the whole community. That's why I want to talk to you about this, because of the name of this conference. The entire world community was in Washington for that show, and everybody contributed. Somebody said, "Here, I'll make the costumes." It was just like a movie of people doing it. It was a fantastic show. It was about an alien takeover. It was a fantastic musical show. When I think of the energy that I put in and the entire community got behind it, and this is the Saturn return of that show.
Wow.
30 years ago. That's why I'm nervous about my own creativity, because I think, could I ever do something like that again? Am I all done? Or do I still have it in me? But that show was so full of life and magic and mystery. And it took place in Washington. I think we have a video of it, but we were stupid at the time. We didn't bother too much about that. But when you think about that, when you think about all the creativity that went into it, that's what scares me about this damn period we're going through now. I miss everybody. And I hope they miss me, because I can't stand it another minute. I thought this was going to be an in-person conference. That's why I said yes. Because
Oh, Well, we're
I thought,
happy you're with us
yeah,
anyways.
told me it wasn't. I thought that it was going to be an in-person conference because I can't. And I'll tell you, this is a nice little Zoom conversation we're having, and I love you a lot. You look gorgeous, by the way.
Oh,
Now,
you look gorgeous. You're always
don't
gorgeous.
don't sue me for saying that. But the thing is, I miss everybody, and I'm alone in New York, and I'm alone in New York. I have people here, but most of my community is either way downtown. I live uptown, way downtown, or not in New York, because I have a world, astrology people in the world, Lynn Bell, Darby Costello, so many people everywhere. But I'm sick of this goddamn thing, and I tell you that I'm going to have an in-person class in my office very soon. I'm not going to say when yet, but I'm going to do it because I miss this community. I miss the contact, the vibes, the bodies. I miss this community. And this damn thing has done a lot of harm to the intimacy that we shared and the connections that we made. And Greg, we met, you and I met, Frank and I met, Frank and you met. I mean, we made a connection, but there's nothing like being with a real live person.
I agree. Yeah, I miss gathering with everyone in that downtime and, that time between talks. That's really where the connections
Between
are made. Yeah.
And the things, and in that in UAC in 2018, she did a fantastic job of putting that thing together. Laura did, and she wasn't just the big queen of the place. When I came on my talk, the mic wasn't in the real place. She got down on her hands and knees and re-put the mic where it was supposed to be. She worked for that thing. She made that conference great. It had its criticism, however, but it was wonderful because of what she did, what she put into it. And it was wonderful just to be with the people. I think it seems now like it took place 46 years ago. And it was 2018, right?
Yes, it was just 3 years ago. Yeah, a little over 3 years ago.
It seems like 100 years ago.
I know.
We need each other. And now when people are so divided, they're so divided. You can't say one word and that's it. The relationship is over because you said the word Biden or Trump or Trumpster or Trumper, whatever they say. The thing is that people are separated and dumping relationships at a time when we are going to be lost forever if we do that. We don't dare excise each other from our groups. One time there was an election year. I forget who was running. It might have been Bush. So I had my regular Monday night library night in my office. So we had a fake election with secret ballots, and I was the counter of the ballots. So when it came time to read the ballots, who was running against Bush at that? Oh, it was Al Gore, I think, right? Yeah. Al Gore won by a fantastic margin. So I knew that everybody in the room was a Democrat except two people. I don't know who they were because they voted for Bush. But I got phone calls from them the next day. And they said they wanted to tell me the truth that they voted for Bush. I said, so what? And they said, well, we were embarrassed. So you know what I did? I called another meeting the following Monday night. Everybody who came to the election has to come to the meeting. And they came and the two people who voted for Bush had to admit that they voted for Bush. And we had a fantastic night and nobody argued with anybody. The views were not that much different from each other, but I was not going to allow them to be embarrassed to have voted Republican. And now that's even more scary than ever. Now you don't dare say one thing. Not necessarily about which party, but because it's now it's a global thing. It's a global event. And we are all in the same incredible jeopardy, whether we believe it or not, whether we think the aliens are doing it, whether we think that somebody is doing it in Australia. It doesn't matter. Each of us has our own particular fear, because whatever started this has engendered our death anxiety, something that we all have. But each person has a different version of that death anxiety. And whatever has happened to the world has awakened that death anxiety. And we mustn't let that happen. We must not give in to the fear. And that's why I wish we were all getting together. This is a nice thing you guys are doing. At least we'll be somewhat together. But that's the message. Don't give in to the fear. Because whatever this thing is, it likes fear. It likes to say you're going to die pretty soon. Because that's what everybody is dreading. And that's what causes people to be so compliant and frightened, because fear is the mind killer. And that's why I wish we were having music, and I wish we were having, but we'll have to do something anyway to lighten this group, because we have to talk about the real thing, which is the fear of dying, which everybody has, getting old and dying, or getting sick and dying. But we have to make this conference so much fun that it takes in and counts the fear and acknowledge that lies behind everything, and then acknowledge the joke that the whole thing is always behind everything. I don't know how we can do that. We only have a couple of weeks, but I want this conference to have so much fun. Whatever, I don't know how we can do it.
Well, I think the fun part, well, look, the conference is opening with Moon conjunct Jupiter in Aquarius in the 11th house. And so
Pretty
we
good.
deliberately, midheaven in Sagittarius. So we deliberately chose that because we wanted it to be like truly an embracing of the community, truly a celebration of the diversity of astrological voices. But yeah, to be fun too, all of that.
That's fantastic. So the trick is how to be able to bring in, now I have a big challenge, how to be able to bring in what's really the dark part of people, because the dark part of people is losing hope. And how can I, as the person, I think I'm one of the early speakers, right?
You are the keynote opening speaker. What? Of course, you are the keynote.
All right, so I'm the opening speaker, so I have to set the tone from it. I have to be real, and I also have to realize what a stupid joke the whole thing is, and that's a big task. I mean, I have some ideas about my talk is about how when new planets are discovered, they change culture completely, and that is what I'm thinking about in my work now. I'm interested in Oumuamua. I'm interested in Eris. I'm interested in planets that I never paid any attention to before. So I have to bring that into my talk in what's a half hour, 45 minutes. And
Yes.
Then I have to also inspire people to let them know that we're facing something really scary, but we have to laugh in the face of it.
You're the perfect person to do it, Michael. I really think so. That's why Frank and I, when we were putting the conference together, you were like one of the very first names that came up because of that wit and humor, but really great astrology that you bring. So you're the perfect person to do it.
I live for what we do. I think we live for this. And my personal dedication is to try to, I say this, I try to help people embrace what they've always wanted to do and make them laugh while I'm doing it. That's what I try.
Well, you're succeeding.
I remember once doing a chart years ago in the beginning where I thought I had to tell the woman everything from every aspect. It was in the beginning, So I gave her one of those 7-hour readings. And when she said, my kids got home from school at 3:00, I said, I haven't gotten to your 9th house yet. But when I finished, I thought I had done a great job telling her path and her karma. And as she put her coat on, she said, "Is there anything in there about foreign travel?" So I've learned that people want to talk about what they need to talk about, not what the astrologer needs to talk about. So I've changed my style and method that way. But I love what I do, and I love what you do, and I love what Frank does. I love what all of us do, because we have chosen a fantastically gifted path, and we've been allowed into the room. We've been allowed in. And whatever that room is, whatever that place in consciousness is, the door opened for us, and we are lucky.
Aren't we? So fortunate, so fortunate. Yes. It feels like a very blessed path to be on, for sure.
It is. It really. It's really. And you know what people used to say to me? Sometimes they still say it. From that, you make a living. You know?
Yeah.
Yes, I do, Aunt Rose. I do make a living at it.
I love it. I love it. So once again, Michael is going to be our keynote speaker at Embracing the Community, a celebration of astrologies. It is the online conference event of the year taking place over Autumn Equinox weekend 2021. And links and discount codes and all of that good stuff is in the description below. Michael, thank you. I love you. Thank you for making time, for connecting with me. You know, I love talking to you. You've been so loving and supportive for my work since I first met you 9 years ago. When I first met you, you have been this constant support and inspiration as well. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you. And I'm so excited about now you being a part of this, being the keynote speaker for this conference. It's so exciting to me. Thank you.
Me too. Thank you, and I'll see you soon. I hope I'll see you in the flesh one day, but this is great.
Of course. Yes, we shall.
I'll-
We shall hug again.
Just tell me any of the instructions beforehand, and I'll follow everything that I can follow without breaking the rules. Okay?
Don't you worry. I like it when you break rules. I like the way you are, edgy. You are an edgy dude, and that's part of what makes you so cool. So just be you, Michael.
My fourth grade teacher said, Michael is a good boy, but he needs to curb his behavior. So I'll try. I'm still trying from fourth grade.
Well, I think you not curbing too much has led to all these wonderful accolades and successes and loyalty that you have from the people who love you for all this time.
Well,
So curb it, not too much though, I would say, or just to be like, okay,
well, we
fine.
have a job now. This conference is, I realize after talking to you that this is an important conference because of its position with the sun and moon, and it's also the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur, and it's going to take place around the time of the moon conjunct Pluto. But we'll talk about that another time. But it's a very important holiday for not just Jewish people, but for all of us, because it's taking place around the moon Pluto conjunction. But we'll talk about that later. And I'll talk to you soon. And thank you so much again.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. And thank you, everybody out there, for watching. And until we connect again, take care. Bye.
Talk to you. Bye.